Beyond the edges of orbit, there drifts a station with no coordinates, no crew, only signal. They call it the 12th station. It does not predict the future. It examines the present as if it were already history. What it intercepts tonight is not rumor, not myth, not prophecy, but data from a living planet, storm cycles, forest loss, ocean heat, mineral decline. This transmission is not about reflection in a mirror. It is about feedback in a system. Tonight's transmission is the weather report, not the forecast for tomorrow, not the temperature at noon, but the condition of the organism you are standing on. There is a story told in the language of weather. It does not begin in the sky, but in the imagination of humanity. You observe rising temperatures, heavier storms, longer droughts, and you call it climate. It is also expression. Outer conditions follow inner assumptions, not only of individuals, but of a collective state of consciousness expressed through action. There was a forest in what is now called the Amazon rainforest. Trees absorbed carbon, released oxygen, lifted water from soil, and contributed to rainfall cycles across continents. Each year, the world loses around 10 million hectares of forest. When trees disappear, carbon remains in the atmosphere, rainfall patterns shift, and soil becomes exposed. The loss is measurable, the consequences are cumulative. Since 1970, global wildlife populations have declined on average by nearly 70%. Biodiversity contracts, food chains weaken, resilience declines, the web thins, trees cycle minerals such as calcium from deeper soil layers to the surface. When leaves fall and decompose, nutrients return to the ground. Without trees, calcium leaches away, soil acidity increases, crop mineral density declines. When soil weakens, food weakens. When food weakens, bodies reflect that weakness. Structure in the land mirrors structure in the organism that depends upon it. In the ocean, coral systems such as the Great Barrier Reef depend on stable temperatures and balanced chemistry to maintain calcium carbonate structures. Rising ocean temperatures and increased carbon dioxide disrupt that balance. Bleaching events increase. Marine ecosystems destabilize. The mineral cycle appears again. Soil, sea, bone, the pattern repeats. On land bordering regions such as the Sahara Desert, deforestation reduces moisture retention. Without roots to hold water in soil, rainfall either runs off rapidly or fails to remain within the system. Flood and drought replace seasonal balance. Desertification expands. The planet operates as an integrated organism. Forests function as carbon regulators. Soil minerals provide structural integrity. Oceans buffer chemical shifts. Climate distributes heat across hemispheres. When one system weakens, others compensate. Increased storm intensity, prolonged heat waves, and extended wildfire seasons are adjustments within a stressed network. The Earth responds to imbalance through amplification. You may notice warmer winters, altered growing seasons, or changes in food quality. These are reflections of altered cycles. Consciousness shapes behavior. Behavior shapes systems. Systems shape climate. Assumptions about growth, extraction, and separation become policies, industries, and supply chains. Those structures then influence atmospheric chemistry and hydrological cycles. The physicist David Bohm described reality as an undivided whole, an implicate order from which visible events unfold. If the observer and observed are not fundamentally separate, then climate is not external to us. It is a process within a shared field. Fragmented thinking produces fragmented systems. Fragmentation, he suggested, is a distortion of perception. What appears separate is, at depth, continuous. The environment reflects the structure of collective thought enacted at scale. When humanity thinks in parts, economy separate from ecology, growth separate from consequence, institutions mirror that division. Policies, industries, and technologies are built upon those assumptions, and the planet reorganizes around them. In this sense, environmental instability is not only chemical imbalance, but cognitive imbalance made visible. To restore coherence in the outer world requires coherence in the way we perceive and relate to the whole. Neville Goddard taught that imagination precedes manifestation. Every structure begins as an assumption sustained long enough to take form. If collective belief supports extraction without restoration, depletion follows. If collective belief shifts toward regeneration, action aligns accordingly. Reforestation restores carbon absorption. Regenerative agriculture rebuilds soil minerals. Emission reduction stabilizes atmospheric chemistry. Restoration becomes enacted belief. To heal Earth is to revise the underlying assumption about value and continuity. Planting trees restores rainfall cycles. Protecting soil restores mineral density. Supporting balanced systems restores resilience. The weather is feedback within a closed loop of cause and effect. It is not separate from the one observing it. The forecast is not fixed. It reflects the state we collectively sustain. This is the weather report. This is a transmission from the 12th station.